Hey everyone! So over the last day-ish, we've gotten a ton of new information on the Arrowverse crossover due to them getting a big article in Entertainment Weekly. So that's given us a huge insight into the entire crossover, and we've gotten so much new stuff about it, so I just want to go over the new stuff we have, explain it, and also just give a quick rundown of who is going to be in the crossover that we know 100% will be, because there's actually not as many people confirmed that you might think. Most of the normal cast of the shows are nowhere to be found, and we can't actually say for sure if they're going to be in it or not. But so let's get into it. So Barry and Oliver are going to know what happened to them, and they're going to be the only ones who actually know that reality has changed. Reality is going to be changed by Dr. Destiny, which everyone kind of thought, but we do have proper confirmation on it now. I have a feeling that the book that the Monitor has, that Dr. Destiny is going to take that book and use that book to rewrite history, or to rewrite reality, because I have a very hard time believing that they're going to give Dr. Destiny that kind of power from the get-go. They're going to have him get it from something else. We actually didn't get any new information on the Monitor, so we really don't know, but I assume he's not going to be in much of the crossover. Reality is only going to be written on Earth 1, so all of the other Earths are seemingly going to be unaffected, as Supergirl it's said that the reason Supergirl comes over to Earth 1 is because she is the only one that Barry and Oliver know will be able to tell the difference of the realities. So they call her over because she'll know that everything's wrong. That gives off, a very obvious sense that Earth 38 isn't going to be affected. And if Earth 38 isn't affected, I think it's pretty safe to assume none of the other Earths will be affected. The thing is, though, this begs the question why the 1990 Flash would be coming over. Because I was thinking the reason he would come over is if his Earth is affected too, he would be going off to whichever Earth is the catalyst for all of this, and that's how he'd get drawn into it. But it seems that we actually don't know anything else about him other than that he's going to be in it. There's actually going to be a Legends of Tomorrow cameo. Mark Guggenheim said that the Legends aren't going to be sending out the entire crossover, and that in the third episode there will be a cameo. Whether or not it'll be one character cameoing or if it'll be the entire team, we don't know for sure, but it's good to know that they'll be in this in some form. Legends of Tomorrow are actually doing their own thing for the crossover week, which is they're going to cross over with themselves. How this is going to work, I don't know, but leave it to the Legends of Tomorrow to do that. At some point, Barry, Oliver, and Kara will end up as prisoners inside Arkham Asylum. I did kind of think this because we'd been seeing a lot of stuff of Barry and Oliver sitting in jail cells, a lot of shots of inside the prison, so I kind of was guessing that we'll see something of them locked up, but we did know Kara was going to be included in it, and now we do. At some point, Batwoman will team up with Cisco, aka Vibe. So that's interesting. So it seems that Cisco will get his powers back at some point, because he is listed in the article as Vibe, not Cisco. So it seems that he's going to become Vibe again, which it kind of ruins the direction I think his character was going in season 5 of Flash. He was one of the things I was liking about this season, on his direction, and I'd be a little bit annoyed if they just threw it all away for the crossover. But this is actually the very first confirmation we have that Cisco is in the crossover. Before this, we didn't know at all. Here's another thing I'm a little bit worried about, or not worried about, I guess sad about, is that Guggenheim said that each episode of the crossover is going to feel like that episode's show. So that's part of the crossover, which is Flash. Actually, I can't remember where they said Flash for Arrow was the first part, but say Arrow was the first part of the crossover. That episode is going to feel distinctly like an Arrow episode, with the next episode feeling distinctly like a Flash episode. Last year, I thought it was perfect. I thought by having all of the episodes really nicely kind of linked together and feel like a movie, I thought it made everything better. It made the pacing better, and it made the crossover overall a much better time. I still loved Invasion, but one problem I did have with it was that it kind of took you out of it when you would go from a Flash episode to an Arrow episode, because it would be such a noticeable change. This time around, it seems they're going back to that, which I don't know why when last year worked so well. I think it's because it's 3 episodes instead of 4, but it shouldn't make a difference. They should still be able to do it with 3 episodes. What else do we get? Yeah, Mark Guggenheim has said that the last few crossovers have been very hard on everyone, and that's why the Legends aren't included, is because he wants this crossover to be focused on the leads themselves, so on Melissa, Grant, and Steven. He wants the crossover to be focused on them, and only kind of them, whereas if you bring the Legends over, you can't just focus on one of them, you have to bring the entire cast over because they're an ensemble show. I guess that kind of makes sense, but I did hear something a while back that said that most of the Arrow cast aren't actually going to be in the crossover at all. So it really does seem like this is going to be very, very, very focused on the mains, which is Oliver, Kara, Barry, Clark, Superman, and then the new characters, which is the Monitor, Psycho Pirate, Dr. Destiny, Batwoman. I think these are all going to be focuses, so it really does seem like we're not going to see much of the rest of the casts. So to kind of give you an idea of how small of the actual casts are going to be in this, I'm going to give you a quick rundown who is going to be included in the crossover. So 100% we know Kara, Barry, Oliver, obviously. They're all over everything. Then we also have Superman and Lois Lane, which is pretty obvious, considering how much they're being featured. I don't know how much Superman's actually going to be in this, because I did think he was going to be in this a lot, but in all the big shots, or in all the shots we've seen of Kara, Oliver, and Barry, together with, the 1990 Barry Allen, Superman's nowhere to be found, so I really hope he's not just relegated to the Supergirl part of the crossover and he's actually in the whole thing. It could be, however, that since they said each episode is going to feel like their own show, they could leave the Smallville, Kent stuff, Lois Lane, Superman, all of that until the Supergirl part of the crossover, and I'm really hoping they don't do that. Then Batwoman obviously as well, with Gotham, Arkham Asylum, all of that. We have Cisco now that we know for sure, Cisco Ramon, Vibe. How much of I don't think he's going to be in much of the crossover, but it's good to know he's there. Brainiac 5 and Martian Manhunter haven't actually been officially confirmed by any official source, but there was a leaked set video about 2 weeks ago. Somebody recorded it because they were recording outside, and Brainiac 5 and Martian Manhunter are both there in one of the big battle scenes. The other people in the scene are Superman, Lois, and I think the Monitor, but I could be thinking differently. I know there was somebody in stilts, so that's interesting. Then Dr. Destiny, obviously the 1990 Barry Allen from the Flash TV show. The Monitor, we know Diggle and Iris are both going to be in it, because in we have two 20-second promos each that were shown during Arrow and Flash this week. In the Flash one, Diggle was featured with Barry, and in the Arrow one, Iris was featured with Oliver. And then we have Roger Hayden, or Psycho Pirate, and we have Stephen Amell's wife, Cassandra Jean Amell, is playing Nora Freeze, who is the wife of Mr. Freeze, but I have a feeling that they're doing what they do a lot in these shows, which is change up the villains a bit, so I have a feeling that they're going to make Nora Freeze actually be the villain, well, not of the overall crossover, but she's going to be it's going to be Mrs. Freeze instead of Mr. Freeze in this universe. And in the Batwoman show, they can have her show back up as Mrs. Freeze, or maybe she's trying to save her husband rather than the comic book version, which is Mr. Freeze trying to save his wife. Wikipedia also lists Felicity, Caitlin, and Curtis as being parts of the crossover, but I'm not going to confirm or deny that. I think it's very, very, very likely that Felicity's going to be in it. I think they kind of will 100% include her in this, but the other two, I don't know. I can't say for sure, because I haven't actually seen anything at all to say that they will be. There's been no talk about them being in it. There's been no pictures, nothing. The Arrowverse wiki also lists practically everyone who's part of the main casts as being featured in this crossover, but I'm definitely going to dispute that, because I have a feeling that Dinah, Renee from Arrow, Ralph Wells from Flash, none of them are going to be in this, I think, at all. Maybe a cameo at the very start, but I think that'll be it. But yeah, that's kind of it about all we know. But yeah, as you can see, there's not near as many characters from the shows being featured as you might think there were. But I was really excited for this, but the more I'm seeing about it, the less I'm getting enthused about it. I still think it's going to be a really fun time. It's just, I don't know, it seems kind of a little bit of a downgrade from last year. I thought that maybe this year they do Crisis on Infinite Earths, which, would be huge, which would be bigger, bring everybody in, but it seems like they're definitely going smaller in scale. I'm still really excited to see Superman with the Trinity, but that's kind of it. But yeah, that's just everything that we kind of know. But thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you, and have a great day.